Good evening, YouTubers. Welcome to episode 82 of Shrigleytube TV. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're rejoining me, great. Thank you for your attendance. Massively appreciated. Thanks for all the comments as well. Love them. Positive, negative, whatever. As long as they're constructive, that is fine by me. I haven't done a great deal of videoing this week because I was behind schedule. I knew I had to get Adrian's engine on and running for the first of the month, so I have achieved that, but it meant that I didn't do an awful lot of videoing. I've come in today on Saturday and done a little bit on my offset bore engine because I am still keen to squeeze that in around other jobs and get a tune out of it. So it's all good. We've had a good week in the end. Just we'll call it an alcohol induced misfire that took place after I went to the party on Saturday night with the CTCRC gang. Had a great time, but I have paid for it this week. I am definitely out of touch when it comes to alcohol. So we'll have to swerve the beers for a few months just till we get ourselves all sorted out in the new unit, which is also looking good, but I won't go into that now. What I'll say is, if you've not already booked it, Race Retro, weekend of the 21st of February, it's all on the internet. They've got live show, big massive auto jumble, loads of rally cars and race cars inside the halls. Come along and say hello. I'll be there all weekend on the auto jumble. So yeah, it'd be great if you could come along and see us. Right, I'll not waffle anymore. Let you get on with the video. Hope you enjoy what you see. I'll see you next Sunday at 7. Bye for now. Good afternoon, YouTubers. It's Monday afternoon. It's been a bit of a wonky start to the week, to say the least. I went to the CTCRC do on Saturday night and there was free wine on the table. So I ended up drinking far too much of it. I don't even drink normally, so this was like a bit of a blowout for me, and we had a good dance and had a right good time. Thoroughly enjoyed it, but I have been paying ever since, and I don't think I'll ever drink ever again. Anyway, that's my mistake. So I didn't even get to work this morning until about 11 o'clock because I dropped the kids off and then came back. I thought I just have to get in bed. I'm too rough. I was rough as toast. And then I was laying in bed and I was thinking, it's going backwards here. You might as well be rough at work rather than rough in bed. So I've come to work. I've been on light duties. I've got a fair bit done, actually. It's not been a bad production day. I've got my second set of 4 blocks have all been drilled for starter motors, and all the bungs are out of them. I've just kept myself on light duties. And also done some work on Adrian's head, so we'll hopefully still get a dry build on tomorrow with that. I'll just turn the camera around. Just wanted to say good morning or good evening. So I've got Adrian's head here. Now, the original plan was to cut the seats on this, but the valve height was quite nice on it. And I thought if I go any further cutting the seats, you know, it's going to lose compression, etc. It's already what I call an old school big chamber, so I don't really want to start chewing loads of material out of it. So I thought I'd just lap the valves and see what happened. And you know what? They're lovely. There's no problem with them at all. They've all sealed beautifully. So it is a proper head. It was a Chessman head. So now what I'm going to do, or what I've just done, is I put the support screws in that I think actually someone commented to say, why do I put the support screw in after machining? And the reason for that is the support screw is a parallel screw. It's not tapered. It doesn't actually change the position or anything. It just goes in the hole and it follows its thread, so that when we clamp the head down and the wheel string is in this area, there's some land for the material to sit on. If it does try and deform a little bit, the energy is transmitted through the side of the screw into the floor of the exhaust port, which is quite solid, and it doesn't go anywhere. But yeah, there's no need to put them in beforehand, and you know, it's easiest to clean the head and blast it, etc., without the silicone in, because we have to like plug the hole so that the coolant can't get past. Anyway, there you go. So we're still on track. We'll get this head on the block and we'll do our dials for lining up the pots, and then we'll get the crank in, get the crank to go around, and we'll have a good doing it tomorrow hopefully, and we should see it at a decent stage by the end of play. So yeah, not a bad day. Just I am pretty dangerous as a rule anyways. You've probably got the idea by now. When I've been drinking, I'm even more dangerous, so I can't really go near any machining, because the idea was to turn liners and get them into the other 4 blocks on Monday, but I just couldn't be trusted. I'd have ended up scrapping half of them. So yeah, hopefully tomorrow we'll wake up on full power. I can feel the cold is starting to ease off a little bit now. So yeah, brilliant stuff. Good morning, YouTubers. It's Tuesday morning. I have been greeted by Mr. Mark. How you doing, Mark?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you, Andy?
Well, I've got a bit of a cold, but I'm all right. So just
Good.
keep your distance and hopefully you'll be fine. Now, I wasn't expecting you to return with this for at least 6 months.
Well, I've been happily beavering away on it. So
Really?
Yeah, really enjoying myself.
Have you? Oh,
Yeah.
good. Well, it looks like you've done a grand job. You've lapped all your valves in.
Yes.
You've built all that up and you've got a clearance as well, I believe. You've done the
I have.
shims, yeah?
I have, yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's all looking good.
And you put the pistons in the right way round.
Yes, I had to think about that, but I was, check and double check and then
Excellent.
check again. Yeah.
Good. I have put them in the wrong way round in the past. But brilliant. So what Mark's come down for is, we've already had the head on and when I machined it all and I've put 2 alignment dowels in. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put all the glue on it, etc. Just not to make it seal. The wheel strings cause the seal, but it's just so that the coolant can't get to the wheel strings to help them corrode. We want them to stay away from the coolant. So I'm going to do all that for him. And we're going to put the head on and then we'll knock the dowels through, the roll pins through, which will align it perfectly. Then we'll tighten it down together. Then Mark will take it away, put the cam in, do his final shimming, check everything over, put it in the car, and then return.
Yes.
For a drive. We'll go for a cruise.
Absolutely. We'll go for another cruise and I'll make sure the weather's nice again.
Excellent.
Like last time.
Yeah, last time we had a rubbish microphone and it didn't work properly, but this phone's got a studio quality one apparently. So it feels absolutely bob on that, Mark. It looks like you've done a cracking job. So we'll get the head on and we'll say thank you for being on Shrigleytube and I look forward to seeing you Sunday night.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Good morning, YouTubers. It's Saturday morning. I've had a few days off doing the YouTube just because I've been so busy and I had a bit of a target, which was to get Adrian's engine running by the 1st of the month because I've got all my slots for my engines to be done. And if you get behind on the first one, you'll be playing catch up on all the rest. So I had to just get my head down. I've built it, I've run it, I've not finished running it. I'll show you a little video in a second of it. It runs sweet as a nut. I'm dead happy with it. Compression ratio worked out a bit lower than last year. It's more sensible. It's 11.8 to 1, where it was in the 13s last year, which may or may not have contributed to its demise. Obviously, we saw the detonation on number 4 cylinder. So we're going to be really careful with it, make sure all the fueling is good. I've squeezed a bit of torque on it and a bit of load on it, and it's got the torque. This head, it's quite strange. This head is a Chessman head. And I've seen all different types of Chessman heads. It's what I call a big chamber head. So they've machined it all the way around the exhaust valve. So it can't gain any compression easily. So it has to run more advanced to get the same power, which isn't a problem. It's probably safer, in fact. But the inlet, there's something on the inlet port that was particularly nice. And it does run extremely well. And it's got good torque. So it sounds really bad, this. I'm not concerned with Adrian because some drivers have to have every last horsepower to physically, to be able to mentally and physically do well. Whereas Adrian, he's a thereabouts man. He's always in the mix, whether he's got a 998 with 95 horsepower or a 1040 of 108. And he's like always ready to pounce. He's just, that's the best way of describing him. He's always thereabouts. And if you make a mistake, he's always there to take that place. So he'll do well with this because it's friendly and it's good. It's just like his old engine. So yeah, I think we'll get a proper squeeze out of it on Monday. I've got to put some more hours on it this afternoon, and then Monday we'll it's all nice and cool. We'll check it all over, and then we'll wind it up properly and get a good tune out of it and see. Then we'll invite him up here to pick it up, and hopefully we'll be able to interview him. So that's all good. What I was going to say was this is the first of my new blocks. So this is one of the fire pumpers from the recent purchase. So he's on a brand new dry line and one of the first 4 blocks that I did. So yeah, really pleased with it. Oil pressure's superb. I had to do a fair bit of work to the engine, to be fair, to make it so I was happy with it, just checking over things, but everything checked out good. So it's going to be a good one. I think he'll do well this year. Brilliant. Right, on to other waffles. I'll go into the room and show you what I've been up to with other things. Okay, YouTubers, I'm about to get involved with a mega waffle. I've finished congratulating myself on how well Adrian's engine runs and come in here and I thought, let's have a cheeky couple of hours before we start Mike's engine on my offset block engine. So this is the engine that I ran the other day, and very foolishly the pistons failed virtually on startup because no one had done a cross-section drawing of the pistons. So when I'd machined them for the big valve cutouts, they just failed instantly, which was probably quite predictable really. But like I say, you'd never do this for a customer. It's just purely for Andy's entertainment. So this is my offset block. As you can see, it's got the block on the angle, so the liner is at an angle, so we get the rods all nice and straight when it's pushing hard, which is the theory. And I got all giddy and I thought, you know what, I've always wanted to try it, and this would be a perfect example to try it on. I know the engine's got oil pressure, etc., and what it had when it ran last time. So I've drilled the mains for oil pressure squirters. So you set a little hole there, and there's two more in that one. See these two little holes to the left of the main oil gallery? Well, they squirt oil up at the thrust side of the piston. And the theory being, I was trying to think, where's the best place to cool the piston when we're going to squirt the oil up at it? And I thought, well, you know, ultimately, they don't get that hot because they don't even get brown tarnish on them, you know, with the oil. I mean, I know they get hot, but when we've got the water temperature under control, they're not getting like a road engine where, you know, you take the piston out and it's got black carbon stuck to the back of it. The pistons come out as new as the day they've gone in, apart from the crown, but obviously where they've been, the combustion chamber's been. So I thought to myself, we'll try and aim the oil to lubricate the thrust side of the piston. So as the piston pushes down and it tries to push itself through the side of the block as it goes round under load, we'll aim the lubrication at that part of the liner. So that's what I've done anyway. This might not work, like we say, you know, it's if you don't, nothing ventured, nothing gained. You've got to try things. So I thought this would be a good engine to try it on because it's complete knife and fork job anyway. Now, what I've done as well, which you probably noticed, is I've upped the size of the main gallery because I've effectively got 4 2mm holes there. Well, 4 times 2 is 8, so that's an 8mm hole we've got that's oozing oil pressure out all the time. Now, what you might notice on modern cars is if you ever look at the oil pressure cooling jet that cools the piston, they have a little spring and a little ball in them, like a pressure relief valve. And what happens is, when the engine slows down and the pump's not going so fast, to stop the pressure from dropping right off because of the big hole, the valve is shut off by the spring and the ball. So it only allows the piston to be cooled when the engine's at high RPM, because obviously there's enough pressure to push the spring and the ball off the seat to squirt the oil up to the squirter. So we haven't got that facility on this. It's just going to be a constant oil flow. So I thought what we'll do is we'll increase the gallery size. So I just quickly knocked up this morning some drills for myself. And what I've done is I've just brazed extensions onto them. Crude as anything. But what I've been able to do is I've been able to open that hole up there, which goes through. You can see that's the one that feeds it from the pump housing. And I've also opened this hole up to the next size up. And I've gone in here with this one, and I've also gone in here, so everything's opened up now. And the reason I've done that is we know from, we're not going to get involved with a mega chat about the laws and the physics behind oil flow, but what happens is, if you, much like a carburetor, if you've got oil in a tube and then you narrow the tube, you get an increase in speed because the same amount of fluid is going to be pushed by the pump. It's like a constant displacement oil pump like this here. And what happens is the oil speeds up, but you lose pressure. And you can prove this on your imp. If you've got an oil cooler with 2 1/2-inch BSP pipes running to the cooler and back, and you take it off and run without it, you probably gain up 5 to 10 psi of pressure, because whenever you send oil down a tube, you get like friction, you know. Obviously you've got the oil is in contact with the walls of the inside of the pipe, and what that means is that you how can I describe it? Energy can't be created or destroyed, just change from one form to another or whatever. So if you've got resistance from the pipe diameter, obviously you're going to lose pressure. There is a law, and you can read all about it. It's for clever people, not like me. Anyway, what we should say is, a bit like a carburetor, as the air goes through the venturi, it speeds up, but you get a pressure drop. So wherever the pipe goes, big to small, we get an increase in speed, but the pressure drops off. And well, what we could say is, I'll tell you what we could say. If you've got a pipe that's sort of 2-inch diameter, you've got an outside diameter that's in contact with the oil. If you've got a pipe that's 10 mil diameter, you've got a lot more contacts for the oil to be in contact with the outside of the tube for the amount of volume of oil going through. So therefore it has higher resistance. And obviously, for whatever reason, with some complicated equation, we know for a fact that this causes pressure drop. So I was going to talk about the oil pump on the imp. Now, a lot of people fit a high capacity oil pump, a deep one. I don't think it's necessary, because you can fit the pump the size of a house on an imp. Like we just discussed, you've still got the same gallery size. All the pump will do is give you more pressure when the engine's going slowly. But by the time you've got to sort of 2,500, 3,000 RPM, the relief valve, which is what monitors the oil pressure. I can feel myself getting involved with the waffle here, so yeah, right, we'll just carry on. What I'll say is, inside the imp valve body, we've got a pressure relief valve. So because this is driven directly off the crankshaft, it has to work at idle speed at 800 RPM, and it has to work at 8,500 RPM. So when it's going really, really fast, because it's a constant displacement pump, it is shifting a serious amount of oil, that mega. So what happens is, obviously the bearings, the oil pressure just, if you didn't have the relief valve, the oil would get to the bearings, have nowhere else to go, and the pressure would just go off the scale. It would be into like 300-400 psi of pressure at 8,000 RPM. So we have something called a relief valve, and this pressure relief valve is literally a spring with a piston, and this chamber here is your oil pressure side. And what happens is, it blows it off. So as soon as the pressure, the spring is set to a pressure holding the piston, as soon as it gets to 55 or 50 psi, the piston lifts off the seat, and the oil comes out of that hole, and it's in this chamber here, which leads to this here, which blows the oil back into the sump. So most of the oil that's been picked up by the oil pump is getting squashed up to 50 psi and then blown back to the sump. And that's not particularly efficient. It's just an old way of doing it. And that's the reason why I've got this paste dry sump pump here. I was going to talk for a second. You can see the similarities in the way the pump is designed. It works by squashing the oil and pushing it through the offset rotor, which creates pressure, or flow, should I say. It creates flow. But the clever thing about this is your relief valve. So that's your spring, and that's your little piston that holds on the seat. When the pressure in this chamber gets up to 50 psi, or whatever you've set that relief valve at, the pressure is released into this part of the chamber, which is also the feed side of the chamber. So on this pump, it's much more efficient, because once it reaches its pressure, anything that's blown off gets put back into the feed side to be sent round again. So the pump only takes what it requires to make 50 psi, or whatever we've set it to. So it's a far more efficient way of doing the job, much better than this system where we're sending it all around in a circle. In an ideal world, I'd try and slow that down, because I'm not fussed about oil pressure below 4,000 RPM. If it only had 15-20 psi, I wouldn't even lose any sleep at all. As long as it does its 50 psi, once it's getting to where it's going to be working at like 4,500-5,000 RPM, I'd be happy. But you wouldn't, that would like make everyone cry their eyes out if they had a race engine that had no oil pressure, because everyone raves about oil pressure, mainly because back in the day when you looked at the condition of an engine, the one thing that was the big the big, oh, it's a good engine, that is if it had good oil pressure, because it meant that all the mains and all the big ends had good tolerance on the crankshaft. So the bearings create the pressure. That's what we should say, is the pump creates the flow. The relief valve keeps the pressure constant, but it's the clearance in the bearing clearance here that actually creates the pressure that we see on the gauge. So if them clearances go big, or if some dipsticks drill loads of holes to cool the pistons, then the pressure is going to be low. So to make a point of what I'm saying, just for a learn, I'm going to run a standard oil pump in this engine. Obviously, it'll have probably have a bronze drive gear in it, but this is just a sample pump, and we'll see how it's affected. As long as that relief valve is opening, by the time I get to sort of 4,000 RPM and I'm seeing 50 psi, I'll be happy. Now, I do expect it to drop right off on idle. It might only have 5 or 10 psi. I'm not concerned about that, because as long as there's oil getting to the bearings, you've got to remember, look at something like that little Honda engine that Danny built in the workshop the other day. It doesn't even have a pressure-fed big end. It has like a teaspoon that flicks oil at it, you know, and it's got a hole in the side of the bearing. That is enough to lubricate. It's amazing how the oil system works on an engine. It really is. Anyway, I'll stop waffling. If you're still awake, we'll do something else. We'll go and find Bergerac or something and have an interview of him, and we'll come back to this next week when it's on the dyno running, hopefully. We just had a wander up because I was producing too much labour and too much mess. Too much mess. Oh, okay. And I thought I'll have a wander out and see Bergerac, because I'm having a bit of a problem with the YouTube channel. There's nothing new to put on.
That's what happens in January, though, isn't it? You know,
and I've just lost my mojo a bit since I filled myself full of red wine on Saturday night at the CTCRC do. So I've been recovering, but Bergerac's got a new ride.
Yeah, what do you reckon?
Mate, it's very smart looking.
Yeah.
I
decided I need something that was as frugal as you are, basically. So.
You mean Percy Passat?
Exactly. Yeah.
You won't do 61.3 miles to the gallon at 70 mile an hour.
I came back from Portsmouth yesterday, 70 mile an hour all the way, 56. It's not bad, is it?
Mate, if you've got some narrow tyres like Percy's got, I reckon you could get into the 58s.
These wheels don't even have valves, look.
No valves?
No valves.
Are they solid rubber?
They're in the centre cap.
Oh, that's a bit posh, isn't it? Yeah. That's a bit posh.
But it's nice, this. What do you make of it?
I think it's lovely. What was it? £3.5 grand, something like that?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Not a lot of car for the money.
Yeah.
A lot of car for the money.
Well, Peter got it right. It rides a lot better than a normal 3 Series.
Yeah, my missus had the M Sport one, and we had to put standard springs on it because it was she couldn't avoid potholes, and I thought the strut tops were going to pop through the windscreen.
So the stripes
hang on.
Came with it, so I've decided.
You're putting stickers on it.
We'll try. Well, they're the factory ones. So I'll give them a try. See what they look like. Free petrol in on there.
I think you'd already bought them stickers before you put the car
absolutely not. Absolutely not. So what do you think? Stickers or no stickers?
No, yeah, definitely. You want
discreet, to be fair.
This won't stay with you. You'll sell it. I know what you like. So what about the ambassador car? What's it called? A Lancia what?
Keeping that, but the problem is you can't get LPG anymore. And like we're going to Bristol this weekend, and you fill up before you set off, obviously. But it's only got a 250 mile range. There's no way you can get LPG from over the weekend.
Yeah.
It's all the independents that do it now. Hence, diesel.
You've gone diesel. You've gone. Well, diesel's the way forward, mate.
I've never had a diesel car before in my entire life.
Mate, they're just so economical. It blows my mind. Anyway,
I can't say I'm particularly excited about it, but yeah,
they don't make a very good noise. They're a bit rattly and all that. But this is the one with the chain at the back, is it?
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah, they're all right till the chain stops.
But yeah, like I say, twin turbo rather than the normal 320D.
Two turbos to buy when they go wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Even better. Something else to look forward to.
Oh, what?
It's quite smart though. Very straight.
So where's the Stratos, mate? There's a big space in your workshop.
Well, there might be news about that, but you'll have to wait and see.
You having it painted?
Oh, the new one. Sorry. Yeah. That's at the body shop at the moment. Yeah.
What has something?
Something going on with the other one. Yeah, we'll see.
A bit of movement.
We'll see. Yeah.
Wonderful. So,
fingers crossed.
Just want to get something sorted straight before we go any further.
Oh,
obviously, I promoted the sale of the vehicle an awful lot.
Right.
So, what cut am I on?
Chocolate buttons, maybe.
Of the £120,000 it was advertised at, what I've got to get a cheeky 20 or something.
2 packs of chocolate buttons, I reckon.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, mate. I don't know why I bother making you famous. I really don't. Well, anyway, Bergerac, that's lovely. That.
Yeah, it is. Just a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think you'll keep it long.
No, I'll probably get bored of it in a week.
Get a Percy Passat, mate. Honestly,
you can't stoop to those levels.
Oh God, I'm cutting the video now. Okay, YouTubers, I have in front of me a 1040cc race engine belonging to Mike Loveland. So Mike sent his engine back end of the year for a refresh. This is Mike, who we interviewed at Mallory. You might remember him. We give him a few nicknames. He was, of course, at Mallory Mike the Misfire, which we fixed with, I think, a bad plug lead. And then he went on to win the second race, which I have a fantastic picture of him holding his trophy, which I'll add now. Okay, YouTubers, we've got a bit of a special thing going on here. We've got something I've invented called Meet the Drivers. So here on pole position, we've got James Ibbotson, Adrian over on second, Brendan Rooney in third, and Mike the Mower. We've renamed him Mike the Misfire for this meeting, in fourth. And then I should be at the end in fifth, but unfortunately I broke the car, being too rough with it. So all I can do is make interviews and talk about what might have been. So, James, thanks for agreeing to do this.
That's all right.
Any plans for the race?
Yeah, try and make it to the end, to be honest. Gearbox is a bit noisy and engine's a bit down on oil pressure, so if we can get to the end, that'd be nice. And keep Adrian behind as well, that'd be good.
998 Adrian, well, very best of luck, I'm sure you'll do it. So Adrian's run a bit of a disadvantage because he's on his old engine that he put together overnight. Is that right?
Yeah, it's certainly done some work, that engine, but it seems to be working all right. So
he's got a bit of experience. He's been racing since like 1890 or something, was it?
92, my first race at Mallory, yeah. So,
at Mallory?
Yeah.
Oh, it's your anniversary. Yeah, so if James's oil pressure runs out or his gearbox snuffs it, then...
Well, I've got to try that.
Could be taking a trophy home.
Who knows?
Thanks, Adrian. Right, Brendan. Third race meeting, mate. You've got your sights on the big man next to you.
Yeah. I'm hopefully going to get a good start and catch him.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's quicker than me at the moment.
Yeah.
Your dad, I'm going to be stood with him. He's going to be in pieces. He gets so excited, you know. More excited than you, I think.
He is very excitable, like a toddler.
Right, wonderful. And fourth, not through his own fault, unfortunately Mike has been plagued with this misfire. Cole's worked really hard to fix it. I've been looking after kids and family when I should be looking after Mike, really, but we've swapped as much as we can. We hope the misfire's gone now, Mike, because he was literally going the full circuit flat out. He's just lifting for the hairpin, I believe.
Yeah, I didn't need to brake into Gerard's or into the S's, just brake for the for the hairpin, and that was it. So let's hope we've cured it and I can catch Brendan and Adi and we can have a little bit of a battle.
Hang on, you missed the number one.
Well, he's too far up the road.
Never say, mate. Is it?
What about your famous Loveland starts, your Mike Loveland starts?
Well, if I've got, okay, if the car's going to rev above 7,000, I'll stand a chance getting off the line into Gerard's. Yeah, I'll be up amongst you.
How about
yeah.
I wait for you?
That'd be very nice of you. No, it'll be great. I can't say enough thanks to Colin especially, but all the imp lads that have poured over my car today from 10 o'clock till 2 o'clock trying to sort out this misfire. I mean, it's great. The camaraderie is fantastic, and we just want to have a good time. Yeah. And we don't mind who wins.
Yeah, we had a barbecue last night and some beers, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we had a bit of a chat.
It's been a very pleasant weekend.
It's been really good.
I did want to speak to you because I did notice that some parts have been taken off my engine.
Well, yeah, with some old horse box abandoned down by the lake. Well, we went in there and Colin said to me, "What do you reckon's in this old horse box?" Do you know what? There was an imp in there.
No way.
Yeah, so we had some bits off it.
It's a Dassel race box. It's actually a proper race box. That.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Trouble is, the imp
what?
was a rotten old thing.
Oh, mate, wait till I see him at Brands Hatch. Right. Gents, thank you very much for the interview. Very best of luck in the race, and may the best Hillman win.
Cheers, Andy.
I couldn't miss out probably the most important man of the Hillman gang at the moment, the mother hen. Unfortunately, he doesn't speak English, so we have to do a bit of translating. I'll do my best. Hurry he, how you do?
Oh, Holy Mary, Mother of God, send us down a couple of bob. What's up?
Cole, thanks for helping Mike out. You've done
no worries,
a
mate.
cracking job there, mate. I really hope you fixed it.
Yeah.
I've run out of
Hope so
ideas.
as well. It is what it is, isn't it?
All we can say is you've done your very best.
We can try.
And the boy, are you nervous?
Not at the moment, not until he gets out on the grid.
Oh, all right, okay.
As long as he brings it home in one piece.
Be a few rollers getting done in.
Oh, yeah.
Right, brilliant. Well, thanks for helping, Cole.
No worries, mate. No worries.
Take care. Okay, YouTubers, straight into race 2 here, where I was able to do some videoing because the car was broken. So this is the lead pack coming through here, and of the imps we've got Mike Loveland chased by an Anglia, and then James followed by Adrian. Now obviously this is a mini that won the race. In fact, this bloke won both races outright. His name is Dan, great guy. There's the imps again. Oh no, sorry, that's a mini. The imps are coming now. Just I'm on a very small screen. So we've got the imp again, followed by the Anglia. That was Mike Loveland, James and Adrian. I'm pretty sure the next lap we've got a position change because who's putting the pressure on here now? We've got, oh yeah, so James has overtook Adrian and is now chasing Mike down. That's Dan again coming through in the mini. He's got a right good lead. He just took the mick out of this lot, really. Absolutely drove the wheels off that mini. It was stunning all weekend. He did say that Mallory was a mini track. I should add as well that Dan does actually own an imp. He's got imp blood in him, so we like him. But there's the imps again, getting a bit closer. We've got some better footage of this later, where it's viewed from a higher point. And that there is the Brendan Rooney in the little light blue imp there. So now we can see Mike Loveland has been closed in by Adrian, and James is having a look up the inside. And there's Brendan again. This is only his third race meet, and the guy is doing really well. I think he's going to be really a force to reckon with in the future. So we've got a bit of a position swap here. James has got ahead of Adrian and of Mike, and Mike's been demoted to third position. Not quite sure what happened there. But, yeah, James obviously a very experienced racing driver, knows his way around the track. So it's Adrian leading Mike, and unfortunately it looks like James has dropped back. Yeah, he has. This will be his master switch failure. So there's Brendan, the fourth imp. He's going to be catching James in a minute. So now we've got Mike. No, that's Adrian, and he's pulled a good lead on Mike, it looks there. And this is James's car. I'm pretty sure it's oh, there's Brendan, sorry, and then Herald, or Vitesse should I say, and then it did sound lovely, that Vitesse, it was a V6. Here's James just limping into the pits with his faulty master switch. Bit of a shame for the poor lad. I'm sure he'll get over it. So there's Adrian again, good lead on Mike. Mike obviously, Mike the misfire has now fixed his misfire, so this is the first clean engine race he's had all weekend, and he's starting to home in on Adrian a bit, pulling him in, probably playing the long game. There's a bit of an Alan Prost on the side, as you know, but don't mind me saying. Oh, here's the better video of them going round. So this is recorded by a chap called Graham, one of the Club guys. Absolutely brilliant video footage. It's been all over YouTube or Facebook, should I say. So you see James on the outside of Mike there. It's giving him a bit of a run, making him work for it. They look pretty evenly matched down the straight. Obviously Adrian chasing up behind, and then it looks like there's a Paulie Anglia on the right hand side. Is it a mini? I think it's a mini. Slowing down now, you'll see Brendan in the background. This is Gerard's, that long left-hander, which I blame for my engine demise. So it's a very, very long left-hander. You get a lot of oil surge and fuel surge. But you can see they carry good speeds, the imp round here. They're quite quick, considering they're probably the smallest engine cars on the grid. So yeah, we've got James is trying to squeeze Mike out there, just having a bit of fun, I think. But yeah, Adrian dives to the outside. Where did you think he was going to go here? This does fascinate me, but he's a very experienced driver. It wouldn't have surprised me if he had a few more horsepower. He could have pulled that off. That's good for him. They had a great battle. They came in and they all had smiles like Cheshire Cats. They had a really good race, so that was all good. Next, I'm pretty sure what we go on to is practice. So there's James coming out of the hairpin in practice, and then I think there's one of me coming out of the hairpin in practice, trying to use all the track to get the best speed out of the corner as possible. But obviously the exit of this corner is critical to your top end speed end of the straight. So yeah, I was pushing it there. I did half decent timing. And then after that we went to Brands Hatch, I think it was, and he did a bit of grass cutting. So then he got the nickname of Mike the Mower. And then more recently, after the CTCSC Dinner Dance Awards the other night, we've named him Mike the Mover because he can move on the dance floor. Anyway, this engine was spec'd by himself a couple of seasons ago, and it's a good, powerful engine. It's 1040cc. It's got our reprofiled BJ cam in it. I just took the cam out. It all looks really good, and everything looks happy. The oil looks nice and clean because obviously Mike, being an engineer, he looks after the engine very well. He did spec it initially with slightly different to most engines. This one runs an aftermarket EN40B billet crankshaft, so it's got a steel crank in this one. It's standard stroke, but it's just made of a superior material. So Mike obviously is after reliability because he's into racing and doing a few track days and stuff, and doesn't want the engine to wear out or have a fatigue issue. So we'll pull it apart together and see what we see. I'm hopeful that it's in good condition. He said it was running well, so we'll take it apart, and if I see any points of interest, I will stop and talk to you about them. Right, we've took the cam carrier off, and I thought I'd talk for a second because you've probably not seen one of these carriers. I don't often use these. I tend to use either the billet one or a completely standard one, but it's just coming back to me now. When this engine came to me initially for rebuild, it had been a David Heel. You might remember David Heel, very successful imp racer, a big pal of mine, and we often catch up with each other at stock car meetings because we both have a keen interest in watching oval motorsport. So I think he does watch this programme. So hi Dave, if you're there, you might recognise this head, it's yours. And Dave obviously used to use Rodwell Motorsport for all of his machine work. So this is one of Stuart's absolutely lovely cam carriers that he modifies. So what he does, he puts a bronze sleeve inside the original, where the original bore would have been for the cam follower to run, and then you can't actually see it. It's mega what he does. He actually screws these in on a fine thread. They're beautiful. The labour, oh no, you can't see. This might be a different model actually, not the one I thought it was, but yeah, actually he's got a grub screw in the middle there. Can you see it? And that locks the bronze sleeves inside the aluminium. It's apparently because they're made of I think they're aluminium bronze. They have a similar expansion rate to the aluminium that they're housed in, so they never seem to move. And in the old ones, and not knocking them, but the Carter ones, and especially the early Chesman ones, you often would see them move around and they get machined by the cam as it went round. But these are never a problem that Rodwell does. So lovely bit of kit there. And then obviously, as you saw on our engine recently, they have the bolts at the end, so the oil passes through the centre of that little cap head bolt, and that lives in there like that, and that is called a pin carrier. So that screws into that thread there where the high pressure oil wave comes up, and what that does is, if you look, that's the point that's holding the cam carrier down to the head, and then the cam obviously is mounted here, so effectively it's trying to flick the end of the cam carrier. So we used to see them crack and break here, but not when they're pinned. So yeah, nice to see that's been pinned properly. Great stuff. That'll all go again. There's no wear in it. The followers are absolutely like they have fitted them. It's all really good. So we'll keep all that together, ready to go back in the engine. Okay, just popped the head off Mike's engine, and I have to say it's all looking rather nice. Lovely cross hatch in the board. I don't know if the camera can pick that up. He's obviously taken very good care of this. So I can see from looking around the outside of the where the wheel shrink sits that everyone's been getting on really good, and it's all been quite nice, quite pleasing to see really. This is one of my top hat blocks, although it's not in a 930, it's in an imp block. You see the ML there, that's me etching. So I may propose to him that we put him in a 930 block, as I've done a few of them, and then he's on a new block for next year. Having said that, there's so little wrong with this, it's difficult to justify it, but we'll put it to him anyway, because the 930 block obviously is a new block. But we'll have a look at the rest of the engine and see what we see. All so far looking very good, Mike. Well done. Okay, just having a quick look at the clutch. a fair bit of heat in the flywheel, but there's so little of the flywheel. I'm not, shocked. I'm used to seeing this sort of heat in the flywheel. The friction plate, believe it or not, we'll measure it, but it'd probably go again that. It's got quite a bit of meat on it, and although it's seen heat, there's no signs of any cracking like we saw on Mr. Benoy's. Now, Mike is also, apart from his moves on the dance floor, he's well known for his amazing racing starts where he seems to leapfrog about 3 or 4 cars. I don't know quite what he does in the car, but he's very good at launching it off the line. So I was actually expecting to see the clutch in a worse condition than that, so that's quite pleasing as well. So we'll get the engine on end next, and then we'll take the sump off and have a look at the bearings and the crank. Right, one thing Mike did say to me was the engine had developed an oil leak. So obviously you can see it's got the Maynard rear oil seal conversion in. And I did go down there to see the car after I'd given the engine back. It didn't leak in the dyno. It only leaked once it fitted in the car and done a test. And I wondered if we've had a situation in the past where I've had oil come along the dowel, because it's a steel crank. The dowel's been removed and refitted, and the oil seeped along and then leapt out. That's why there's all goo in it, because I went to Mike's and refitted the flywheel for him, and I put a new seal in it. But I don't think it's come from there. I'm not looking. I don't think it is anyway. It's possibly. It is clean on the outside of it, but I've got the flywheel here, and that's the dowel hole there. It doesn't look like anything's come past there. So we'll have to keep investigating. Interestingly, it was dry as a bone the first season when it had a standard imp crank that had been machined down to 3-inch. So what we'll do is we'll have a good look at this diameter that the seal runs on and make sure it's absolutely spot on, because something's upset it. And it's only a minor leak, but you can see it's got the clutch dust washed away with it, etc. there. We'll have to get to the bottom of it and find out where the oil leak was coming from. Just crack the sump off Mike's engine. Lovely golden coloured oil there, looking quite nice that. So hopefully it's looking promising, like the bottom end's going to be in good condition. So we'll whiz that apart. Sump plates off. That's the steel crank I was talking about, made by Farndon Engineering. Lovely bit of kit. I was just chuckling to myself. My mate David Heel, his race number was 97, and he used to stamp everything OAP, old age pensioner 97. What a legend. Brilliant. Right, we'll get these pistons out and have a look at the bearings. What can I say? What a pleasing result for the end of the week. So I pulled it all apart, and it's absolutely like the day I built it. I mean, the bearings, they've barely even touched. These are obviously the ACL Duraglide bearings. The pistons, no blow-by, they've sealed beautifully. Quite often they don't bed in for at least, one good test session. We still see them breathing when they leave here on the dyno. When you wind them on full load, you can see them breathe out the top of the oil filler cap. But once they've done a good race meeting, they seem to settle right down then, and then they stop breathing and they seal really good. But the crank is absolutely crack on. I mean, yeah, that's really nice. That obviously Mike's an engineer. He knows what he's doing. He looks after it. He warms it up. He changes the oil. He does everything correct. And like I said in the Simon Benoy video, if these engines are looked after correctly and they have the correct oil temperature, correct water temperature, and people don't let them jump out of gear or miss gears and rev them to 10,000 plus, then they really are a strong little unit. So brilliant that. We'll have a bit of a rest over the weekend now, come in Monday and pull it to a million pieces, measure everything and inspect everything and get it back together, ready for the first race of the season. Great stuff. Congratulations, YouTubers. You have made it to the end of episode 82. Give yourself a pat on the back. I'll look forward to seeing you all next Sunday at 7, hopefully, if we don't catch up in midweek with the offset engine, if I can get a tune out of it. We'll see how we go.